Hey everybody, this is Nick Mayhew, three-time gold medalist and three-time world record holder, and you're listening to Power 98.5.
We don't play the social game. We are social. Power 98.5.
Hi, this is Dan Aykroyd. He's progressive. He's beautiful. He's thoughtful. He's intelligent. He's powerful. He's positive. He is Steven Cuoco on Power 98.5 satellite radio.
Empowering listeners from the US to the UK. Live on air with Steven Cuoco.
Hi, this is Casper Van Dien from Starship Troopers, Tarzan, Sleepy Hollow, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Tune in to an interview with acclaimed radio personality Steven Cuoco on Power 98.5.
The feedback, and the type of feedback I'm talking about, is my Instagram post. You guys read that today, right? So I'm going to open today's show. This is my new quote. And here's how it goes. All right. The true measure of resilience lies not in what life throws our way, but in the strength and grace with which we navigate its storms. I received a message today from my good friend Sean. He is an artist, incredible artist. I believe he's naturally taught. And he said, perfect timing. I had a feeling. I've been sitting on this for a while, probably about a week, I believe it's been. Been waiting for the right time to post it and share it on my socials. I did publish it on Goodreads. As you all know, I am an international best-selling author. My first book, Guided Transformation, Poems, Quotes, and Inspiration. You can get it on Amazon. It's that simple. Just go on Amazon, just type in Steven Cuoco. My book should automatically pop up. Actually, you can even go to my website, stevencuoco.com, StevenCuoco.com. And it's over on the right-hand side. You should be able to see a drop-down tab. Get it. It's about poems and quotes. My book has been used for rehabilitation. Social workers have used it. It's been used in prisons. It's been used for people to help people with PTSD, an identity crisis. It's not a workbook. It's a book about poems and quotes. But it's been a very long time since I've done a drop, or a plug-in about my book. But what's most important is people are still buying it. I went into Home Depot most recently, and I got some mums. We got fall coming. I like my mums. And I was wearing one of my T-shirts with my quote on it. And she said, I love that. She's like, what quote? Who wrote that? I said, it's mine. And we were talking, and I gave her my information, and she wrote it down. And she's like, all right, I'm buying your book. She's like, I love content like this. I love literature like this. And that was all the way back when I published book one, was in 2012. I'm looking to come out with book two. I'm waiting for the right time. Any time can be the right time. So don't put your life or your goals or your dreams on pause at all. But I have a strategic plan of when I'm going to come out with Guided Transformations book two. It's just really warming, and I'm very grateful for those who are still buying a book, still using a book. I worked in mental health for 15 years, and that's also what inspired me to write it, to just keep it simple. And all you do, I'm going to close by saying this, and then we're going to be bringing on, and big shout out to Marcos Papadatos. We've got a huge, talented volleyball player with us today, Mason Briggs. No matter what you're doing in life, just really know that timing is everything, but also be strategic about what you're doing and how you're doing it, and make sure that it makes sense. And what's always been told to me, and what I've always learned in life and been taught, is when you are chasing something, the question is who's chasing you? And there are times when you just surrender and just allow things to happen, it really turns out better than you've planned. I'm going to be 50 in April of next year. I'm looking forward to it. I was talking to my best friend, my childhood friend last night, and I was like, all right, what are we doing for our 50th? We're going to be here for half a millennium. What are we doing? She's like, oh, it's just another day. I was like, no, don't give me that. It's just another day. I was like, we're doing something. Even if I have to call in some favors or whatever, it's a huge deal. Maybe I'll come out with the book and have it published when I'm 50, but I will know the right time. So once again, to say, don't put your life on hold. Be mindful of what you're chasing. And if you are chasing something, make sure it doesn't drain you. Make sure it doesn't take you away from your friends and family. And more importantly, make sure that if you are choosing to chase something, it doesn't take away from yourself. You can be proactive. You can be productive. And you can still accomplish. It took me a long, long time to believe this. But there is balance when you just allow flow. Because let me tell you something, don't wait until you're almost 50 like me to realize that as you keep chasing, everyone else is going in the opposite direction. That's all I have to say. Mason, thank you for being with us today. We've got Volleyball Nations League with us today. You're here with us on Power 98.5.
Good morning, Steven. Thanks for having me.
You are very welcome. I heard great things about you, especially that you played a key role in advancing to its sixth NCAA tournament appearance in the last 7 seasons.
Yeah, so I'm going into my 5th year at Long Beach State now, playing on the men's volleyball team there. And you could even include my older brother who was on the team for some of those NCAA appearances and national championships as well. So I'm very grateful for that and to be a part of the program there at Long Beach State.
Also, what I'm finding out here is your parents play and coach, and also your brothers, cousins, and your uncle own a volleyball club.
So we're definitely a volleyball family. My uncle, he owns the volleyball club, and his kids, my cousins, they all coach, and some of my brothers have coached. I think they both coached there one way or another. And we were around the club growing up. My parents, they got us into volleyball along with my uncle and cousins, and we're just one big volleyball family. And we've been around the sport forever and playing it together and, watching each other, maybe sometimes against each other, just in an exhibition recreation way.
Well, just so you know, those that are tuning in, we've got volleyball legend here, young and vibrant, also models. We've got Mason Briggs with us today. Katie is asking, just so you know, Mason, whether someone's listening on the app or on the website, we've got a little icon in the bottom right-hand corner. It's a messenger. So you never know if we're going to get shout-outs, love, the whole 9 yards. Katie is asking us, she's from Utah, she's asking us, what is a volleyball club and what's its purpose? And I'm going to honestly say, I was thinking the same thing, so thanks, Katie.
Interesting. So you could think about it like any other sport, at the youth level. Club volleyball to a lot of people would be, if you're a little bit more serious into volleyball and you don't want to just play for your school. There's club teams, basically a travel team, kind of like you put it into basketball terms. I know they have like travel ball or same thing with baseball. So they field teams that play in competitions, throughout the year, depending on the schedule, on the girls' side and the boys' side, and compete for an end of the year type of championship tournament in a way.
It was in one of your answers, I've had goals for a while now, and I've always been goal-oriented, whether they are short-term or long-term. My ultimate goal with the sport is to go to the Paris 2024 Olympics, the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics, and the 2032 Olympics is Brisbane. Are these not just possibilities? Are these what you are actually going to be doing?
Yeah, so I'm definitely a goal-oriented guy. I always have been. Whether I knew it or not, too, It's kind of cool when you find stuff out about yourself. I think when I was younger, I was like that, and my parents were a huge reason for that as well, and they knew kind of where my mind was at. And then it turned into, actually writing these goals down and making them happen. And so my long-term major goal for a while now has been to play in the Olympics. I like to state my goals and write them down and, shoot for the stars in that way. I think it's important to distinguish a dream from a goal. I like using goal rather than dream because, you write down a set of plans and actions that you're going to make happen to reach that goal. And that's kind of where the short-term, long-term goal comes into play, because you align your short-term goals with your long-term goal to actually get you there. And so my long-term goal is to play in the Olympics, not necessarily a specific Olympics. It would be pretty cool coming up, with Los Angeles being my hometown, to play in that Olympics. But overall, the ultimate goal is to play for the United States and represent my country at the Olympics.
I'm pretty impressed by you. It was asked beforehand, but we're gonna share it again. Tell all of our listeners how old you are.
I'm 22.
22. Can you believe it? 22. I feel like I'm talking to somebody that's been in this for 20 years.
Yeah, kind of. Since I started volleyball when I was 2. So, there you go.
That's awesome. I have to say, all great things, Mason Briggs. Head on over to his Instagram, Mason S. Briggs, Briggs. The profile photo. I don't know if you've been told this, but you look like Timothée Chalamet in that photo.
That's hilarious. I get that often. I posted one TikTok one time. And I'm not crazy on TikTok. I'll kind of just post and then leave the app. And I actually checked back like a week later one time, and the video happened to blow up. And I checked the comments, or people were texting me about it, and they were like, everyone's calling you Timothée Chalamet, or I think some people said Timothy Volleyball or something like that. Yeah. So I've heard that one a couple times.
It's true. And that's a great photo. That's actually one of your best photos. I'm glad you sent that to me too.
Thank you. Yeah, it's shout out to, I think, Holly. Holly took that photo. She's been with us the past year or two with Long Beach. And that was at the NCAA tournament, NCAA championship tournament, doing a post-game interview because I'm in my jersey. And I believe we won that night. So it was all smiles, and pretty cool to have that photo with the NCAA in the background. Mm-hmm. I haven't had a photo like that before.
So it's like perfect. Well. It's perfect. You were just talked about in the Los Angeles Times. I'm liking this one. It says, dig this. Long Beach State's Mason Briggs could be next big thing at Libero. Did you read about that? Did you see that article?
Yeah, I did. I like the way they went about it. When we were doing that interview, it was kind of like you stated there. It was focused around libero and the libero position in volleyball, which for those that are listening that don't know, I always say that we are the people in the different colored jersey, which does not mean we are the captain. You can still be the captain, but that does not mean you're the captain. That means you're the libero. And what the libero does is mainly plays defense and serve receive. So they're in the back row, the back of the court, and they're the ones getting the ball up. And that's basically our job. We do not go and hit or attack at the net. So that's what a libero is. And they focused that article. I had to do a similar explanation in that article around liberos and how, I'm even getting people nowadays saying like, oh, I want to play libero now, which I feel like was never really a thing before. And building some hype or some appreciation around the libero position.
It says you're 6 foot, and it says here that you knew you wouldn't grow to 6'5". Were you planning on getting that tall?
I would say back to the goals and dreams, that would have been a dream. I love hitting. I love hitting in volleyball. I just knew that I wasn't going to be very tall. If it happened, then it happened. But I think actually, if I had to put this in any sort of advice, towards younger athletes and athletes in general, is you have to be realistic. I knew, early on that I wasn't going to be that 6'5" or even nowadays 6'7" hitter that you have to be to, make it to where I want to get to with my goals. And I was told that I had the skill set, from coaches, growing up that I was a libero in that sense. And my cousins played libero. They kind of did a similar thing where they hit for a while and then they, played libero. And so I was realistic in that sense. Shout out to my mom. She's the shorter one. So I like to shout her out on that because that's basically why I knew I wasn't going to be tall.
Well, keep in mind, I'm about 5'7.5", borderline 5'8", and to me, 6 feet is enormous.
Yeah, people have to remind me, or I'm reminded on like myself on the weekends, or I'll go to church and I'm actually like one of the taller ones there, and I'm not small like I am every other day of the week being at volleyball practice.
Yeah, so keep in mind when you're at volleyball practice, that is what we go through every day in regular life when we're trying to talk to someone like you, because there's, we've got to look up.
We're in the same boat. We're in the same boat.
Yeah. It's not a bad thing. I mean, to me, I think your height is perfect, especially for someone like you and for what you do. I appreciate my height. I'm going to tell you, I'm glad, very grateful, more specifically, I'm not shorter. But also at the same time, I think to myself, what would I do as someone of your height? Because I'm going to tell you, it really does change people's perception. Not only how you look, but height also makes a difference. And I don't know if you ever heard of this story or this situation. There was a guy, and I found this out, I believe it was on TikTok. He had an issue with dating or getting dates. Girls always thought he was too short. He actually underwent a surgery where he could get, I think it was like 3 to 4 inches tall, where they had to break his legs and refuse. I believe it's like was metal rods or something, and he had to go through rehabilitation, everything to walk again. But there are people in the world, for whatever it is of me telling you this story, is that someone went to the lengths to have their legs busted, to have metal rods put in so they could be 3 to 4 inches taller, just so that he could get attention and hopefully have better date options to be a couple inches taller.
Yeah, that's next level. I wouldn't say that's where my mind's at all.
No.
I love that. I love your idea with it and appreciating what we have. And like you said, you appreciate your height and where you're at, and that you're not even shorter. Right?
No, exactly.
Exactly.
You once said there's a lot of ways out of failure. You got to have the ability to forget quickly. You have a bad pass. Okay, I'm going to pass the ball again. There's no other way to make up for that. Is there really, when I read this and think about even a word failure, it doesn't feel as though that's a reality in your mindset and in your world, maybe at one time, but for who I'm talking to right now on this live, I feel as though that word it just doesn't exist for you.
Yeah, I mean that's perfectly said. To me, it's not failure, and I believe that's kind of what I was talking about. Is you're only going to fail if you don't actually take something from it, if you don't learn from it, if you don't move on to that next ball, or if you don't show a response in that aspect. I would say that would probably be failure. But you're totally correct that I don't even let that thought in. I'm really big into like the mindset aspect of it, and sometimes you even do have to trick your brain of like, okay, maybe it was a bad pass, or bring it outside into life. Maybe you screwed up, but as long as you respond and you can carry on and move forward, but actually learn and grow from that, you're going to get better. So therefore it's not failure in a sense.
What I enjoy most about this, and that even though you wear a different color shirt, I actually enjoy the fact that you don't blend in with anyone else. I'm going to honestly tell you, and I'm feeling this from my heart as I'm going through this information and just going through your stats and looking at your photos. You are in the perfect position. You are in the perfect place to be who you are, to do whatever it is that God has in store for you. I'm looking at this photo. It says Mason Briggs, 21, was the only college player on the U.S. team in the FIVB World Championship. And I'm looking at you. You're kneeled down. There's all these other guys in the red, black shirt. And I'm going to tell you, you don't blend in, but you most definitely stand out. And there's something extraordinarily, incredibly amazing, and there's a gift here for you. And if you haven't recognized it now, or maybe even somewhat feel it and understand it, you're going to come face to face to it one day.
I really appreciate it. Yeah, that means a lot. And I was getting the chills when you were talking. I love that you even mentioned like the God aspect to it. It's a huge part of it for me as well. And the glory to God, as you might hear a lot, and the thanks and appreciation to God, and then kind of goes down into just what I've been given with my family and my parents and my brothers, and exactly like you're saying, that I agree that it's where I am and where I need to be, and it's going to get me to where I eventually want to be, and I'm definitely at peace with that, and it ties it all together for me. With the talking about failure, talking about the goals, is you even mentioned it with the chasing aspect and the timing aspect. To me, it's not necessarily a chase feeling because you're loving it. It's not like you're down in the dumps or you feel like you're totally behind and you're actually chasing that. It's you're accomplishing everything and you're in the right place, and stacking what you want and getting you to that next step, and then to that next step, and then to that next step. So I totally agree with you and appreciate that aspect of what you're sharing.
You're welcome. And I would like to get your response on this. Hyping his teammates after they connect on a vicious kill or rocket an ace over the net feels like catharsis for Briggs. He has no other way to vent his emotions on the court, especially because his role always depends on the actions of others when he reads a hitter's attack or responds to a serve. Do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I'd love to. There's a lot of different ways you can look at that or take that, whether that's directly in a volleyball sense or everything that you can learn from that and take it outside of volleyball. So in a volleyball sense, I mean, I'm the libero. I explained that position, and basically I will never get the kill for the most part. Maybe, there's like a joke, if you dig a ball back over the net and it, hits the floor, maybe you get a kill and everyone goes crazy. But I'm not there attacking. I'm not getting points technically. So I rely on others. I have to work with others. And that's the great part about the sport. I always say it's the ultimate team sport. But for the most part, they're not going to be the one, calling my name after the play. Kill by Mason Briggs. It's just going to be a kill by whoever, got that point. And even the setters are very similar in that sense, where they're always setting the ball, but they're not going to always get the credit. So I think it's important to realize that and know what your job is and the description of it, but also still carry yourself in a way that you want to. And that's kind of how I go about it. It doesn't have to be me getting the point, because it will never be me getting the point. You take on that role and you give that energy and that appreciation to other people. And, some people might even throw around that, the energy's fake or whatever, but to me, it's not. It has to be towards other people and for other people and for your teammates. And I started that at a young age of obviously just loving the sport and loving competing and winning. And then kind of continued to the process of being a better teammate and a good teammate and showing that appreciation and love towards them when they do something amazing and they finish that point.
Great question by Carlos. He wants to know as to what type of conditioning do you have to go through as a professional volleyball player?
That's a good question. We do strength training 3 to 4 times a week, depends kind of on the season and if we're traveling and whatnot. And I like this aspect of it as well because there's a lot that we do and it's not, on a regimen where, I'm going to go on a run or do this or that. But as athletes, me and a lot of my teammates at Long Beach State as well, we're just very active people. We'll go and play pickleball on the side, and we'll go and play basketball or shoot hoops before practice or before lifting or, go to the beach or go surfing. So we're very active in that sense. That would be the conditioning aspect of it, along with the strength training and conditioning that's, with the team. And I think that's important as well because you're getting all of that and then also getting the balance as an athlete of not just in your sport, in your team every single day, but you're, experiencing the outside world, whether it may be, the ocean, pickleball with your friends and all of that while still technically training.
It's a good answer, very detailed, and I appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
What's next for you?
Good question. A lot of people were confused because of this whole COVID thing basically gave people an extra year of eligibility. So I came in my freshman year to Long Beach State, and we started season and it was canceled, just like basically everything else. And so we got that year back as NCAA athletes, that year of eligibility. So now I'm my 5th year in school, and technically will be my 4th season, but 5th year. So this will be my last year at Long Beach State, and the championship will actually be at Long Beach State, the NCAA tournament, which is pretty awesome. So this will be my last year here, and I'll continue to play with the national team over the summer and compete for rosters. And then after this school year, we'll be hopefully going overseas and playing professional.
I had the question. I'm trying to formulate it. Do you have anything else, like in addition to this? I'm thinking to myself, I feel like there's another career possibility or option for you. Have you ever thought of getting into law, like being an attorney, or getting into anything to help young kids? I just feel there's another profession there in addition to being a professional volleyball player.
Your feelings are spot on. It's always been volleyball for me, a professional volleyball player for me, but with a lot of other interests and things that I like to do. I've always been fairly entrepreneurial, starting businesses when I was young. I made like duct tape wallets and sold those, and that blew up in a sense, selling them to my grandpa's business partner, and that's a whole story in itself. And then basically just kind of messing around, starting like a little clothing brand. And now I'm working on actually making an app idea that I've had for a while. It's called Frenzy. And then also working on some other projects that I'm doing kind of along with my brand as Mason Briggs that will hopefully actually be rolling out fairly soon. So I love business and that aspect of things and creating new things, and also actually creating somewhat of a business in a sense to give back to, like you said, to younger athletes or to people that are interested in these sports or whatever. And I already kind of do work with athletes on like a mentorship side and private training, and hopefully going to build out like some camps and clinics that I can put on to reach a lot of these players at once, because it's hard when it's one-on-one and you're only reaching one person. If I can reach more people and impact more people in that sense, then we all get more out of it. In terms of the law and all that, I was interested in that actually for a little bit. I'm a business finance major, so something in the business world, like I said, whether that's me creating my own business or maybe it'll turn around into law one day, but we'll see. Kind of after my professional career is kind of where I would hope to segue into something of that, or continue what I am doing now into my pro career, and after that, and kind of just impact and touch and help as many lives as possible.
Yeah, I felt that there was more to you, and thank you for that, honestly, the transparency, the candor, because a lot of times, especially when I look into someone like you that's out there, making a very good name for yourself, strong faith, you're inspiring people, but yet there are other layers, just like that photo, of you where you look like Timothée Chalamet. And it's absolutely incredible to where I would hope, and if I'm going to be the first one or the first and only, I'm glad to be getting some of these exclusive, firsthand, whether it's about frenzy, about wanting to or thought of going into law, because there are more aspects and attributes about yourself as a human being and as a professional and as a man that really is important to have conversations about, because you never know when someone could listen to this interview or read something later on, and then you're at a game or you're at a meeting or at an event, and someone can walk up and be like, hey, I heard you're looking to come out with an app. Do you need an investor? Do you need a programmer? What exactly are the details? Make sure you have your NDA, your non-disclosure agreements prepared.
Yep.
And then go from there. And that's what I love most. And I want to thank you, honestly, for what you've done for me today. Is I felt, as you felt what I had shared with you earlier, I'm feeling what you're telling me now. And what you're telling me now is that as I'm processing these emotions and these thoughts are, thank you, Mason, for aligning me. I also feel a realignment had happened. And in that realignment is a subtle, peaceful confirmation to remain and continue to be trustworthy, even in this space and place of the unknown, that this is where I'm to be. And that sign, that message came to me yesterday as well. So thank you for the alignment. Thank you for the encouragement. And thank you for what you helped move throughout my body and throughout myself. Because, like I said, I did a search on you, and it was very specific to you in the sport. But there was nothing else available about you. And I encourage you and share your thoughts with me moving forward. Any interviews you do, don't just wait on a journalist to ask you something to plug it in. Find a way, even in your answer, to segue that into adding something else additional of a layer about yourself that's going to warrant and propose potentially more questions, more insight, and more interest into about you.
Yeah, I love that, and thank you for sharing that. And I think that's a big part of what makes me so excited about things like this and business opportunities, and having that personal connection, and working with people in that sense. Whether, like you said, whether that's modeling or, making an app or, my personal branding, whatever it may be. You never know who's going to come along. And I guess to relate it all back to what you were saying earlier is the timing of it. Sometimes we know the timing, and sometimes the timing is going to be just right. And you never know who's, watching or listening or there to help, or, played volleyball once and had the same feeling, that they wanted to accomplish other things, and continue to parlay that into something bigger. And I'm appreciative of the opportunity to be here and talk with you. And
I appreciate you for that. And what a morning. I feel like taking a pause. Like, I feel fulfilled right now. Honestly, I have no interest of, asking any more questions or anything, because it just feels just so accomplished right now for both of us. I don't know. I like, what are you feeling?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, what better way to start the week, right?
Exactly. Who would you like to give a shout out to?
Ooh, I have a lot of shout outs, but I think I'd start with my parents. I said it earlier. I mean, shout out to, my faith and God. And also with that, shout out to my parents for raising me in that and in a loving way and supporting me in every single thing I do. I was just talking to someone earlier about like what makes, or like what was one of the best moments that I've had in volleyball. And it's kind of cool because it goes back to everything we're talking about. It's not even directly volleyball or directly a moment or an award or whatever. It's kind of those moments where you can look up and you know that they're there, watching you and supporting you and sending you those texts before and after. And just huge shout out to my parents for everything that they've done and continue to do for me. And shout out to my brothers and family as well, and always pushing me and being there for me and helping me. And then actually another conversation that I had recently is just every coach that's been a part of my life, and maybe teachers as well. Everyone impacts your life, my life, that, whether it's a good situation, a good relationship or bad relationship, or, something good or bad that happened, is kind of all a part of the journey and the growth, to bring it back to that failure or not. And I'm just appreciative of everything that has happened to me and been a part of my life. And, obviously my coaches and family here at Long Beach State for continuing to shape who I am. And, Alan Knipe is the head coach, been the head coach for a while, and was a big reason that I came to Long Beach, along with Nick McCrae and McKay Smith. So huge shout out to them and my teammates and my brothers. We're a family here, and just everyone that supports us and supports me, whether that be coming to games or, the endorsements that we need to run a program or to be successful as an athlete. I'm just super appreciative. I know that's a pretty long shout out, but everyone that makes everything happen, it takes a lot. People don't always realize that. And I'm super grateful for everyone that's a part of the journey, whatever that journey may be, whether it's, volleyball or, the modeling side of things or the business side of things, or moving into the professional space or, Team USA, all of it. So I'm just super, super grateful, and shout out to all those people that have made it possible.
Also, to add into this, just got to know, is the app going to be happening? Because I believe we are out of summer, right? We're going out of summer.
Yep. Is
the app still going to happen? Because it says here, hopefully we will be rolling out the app at the end of summer.
Yeah. So the major plan was to have the app ready kind of at the start of school year. So I've learned, like in the other project, there's always delays and complications and things that come up. So I guess to keep that answer short, we're still working on it and finalizing some things. We have a lot of it down, a lot of it ready. We're actually in a testing phase. So we're trying to reel that in and shooting for another goal on release date. And I don't want to jump on it too early if, things aren't ready. That's kind of one of my pet peeves, when apps don't work or function correctly. Mm-hmm. And there's just a bunch of bugs. So we're trying to knock all those out and have it ready for release as soon as possible.
I can't wait to find out. And I'm in PR, so that's got me so excited. I just can't wait.
Awesome. We'll do a whole nother conversation on the app, because there's a lot of layers to that. It's a pretty cool thing. I mean, I love the layers to things, the aspects of things. It's not just an app. To me, there's more to it, and there's more that I want to do with it. So I'd love to continue to talk about that another time and dive into that.
Absolutely.
And it goes along with all the connection and everything that we've talked about. So it's pretty cool.
Lastly, and I'm glad to be adding this in, and I appreciate my assistant to send this over. This is what you had said back in May of this year. It's crazy. I used to not be so much into it, but then I did the USA National Team Development Program, which was high performance. And that was one of the moments where I got into social media to communicate with my family better. Technology can definitely be something valuable if it's used in a right way. Do you still feel the same, and are you still using social media for its main purpose of what you've come to know and come to learn?
I do feel the same. I mean, one of the biggest compliments that people, give to me often is that they, kind of like you were saying earlier, that they feel like it's genuine. They feel like it's real. I've stuck very, very true to, who I am, what I support, and who I will work with, in terms of collaborations and the whole new NIL space. And I will always keep that me and keep it real, while continuing to, try and reach people and inspire people and help them if I can. I was not very, I wasn't really a social media guy, when I was younger. Obviously, it was still coming out. Nowadays, it's the thing. But I don't think I even posted something until sophomore year of high school. And again, it would still be, like the annual or, semi-annual post type of thing. And then I went on to my first USA travel trip for the youth national team. And, you're out of the country. You can't really text like you would. I don't know if I want to include everyone in this group chat. Who cares? Doesn't care, you kind of have those thoughts and feelings going through your mind. And so I actually loved kind of making videos, taking videos. I had a GoPro, whether that was just for myself, looking back on the memories, or to actually make something and post it. So I posted a couple things, and that's kind of how I remember that it all started. Is I was just posting for them to see. And, it kind of starts with my family, and then my extended family, and then my cousins, aunts, even grandparents nowadays. And you realize that they care. And then from there, kind of just gained traction that, a lot more people cared. And it's the people, I think I was talking about this the other day. I wrote a post about it. I was sitting in the morning. I have mornings available kind of during this time of the year, which is kind of nice. I just get to relax a little bit if my mind isn't racing. But I was relaxing one morning after just coming back from the NORCECA Final Six tournament with USA Volleyball, and we just won the gold. But regardless of that, there was someone that came up to me after my game. There were two different occurrences, actually. These three kids came up and said that they drove 6 hours to come watch, which was pretty special. And then this other kid said that he asked me for advice a couple years back on Instagram, and I replied to him, and I helped him. He said he's not playing anymore, but I helped him, with that year of volleyball and the next year, and now he's actually coaching, and he still remembers kind of what I was, the advice that I was giving to him. And so it's things like that that give me the chills and that keep me doing it. It's like people ask, does it get too much? Or, when a bunch of people want to take photos or whatever. I think it's cool. I think if people are that interested in it and I can give back in that way, then let's keep it rolling in that sense and put it towards the sport as well and grow the sport of men's volleyball and volleyball as a whole, because it's a pretty special community.
Any closing thoughts at all?
I think I said it all. Again, it just always goes into those layers. You never know what's under it for anyone. There's always a lot of aspects to it. And if anything, I just go back to the appreciation and gratefulness of everyone that's in my life and that's supported me along the way. And, my family, my girlfriend, my best friends, and those that have been very, very close to me and stuck by me. I'd like to think I'm a fairly consistent man, and I appreciate those that have continued to be consistent around me. And just huge thank you to you and Marcos for getting this going and setting this up and having me on. I really appreciate it.
Is this your first live interview?
On
the radio?
I don't even know. I think so.
Okay. I'll take that.
Yeah, I think so. Well, you can take it.
Okay.
I don't have the best memory. It's funny. In terms of the failure and stuff like that, I attribute some of my memory and not always thinking about that type of thing to that, because I kind of just keep rolling.
That's good. I'm proud of you. Yeah. You're always welcome here. You've got my private number. Stay in touch. And honestly, like I said, even from a PR perspective, when you do come out with the app, I would love to have a conversation with you and share any advice. That's up my alley. I have a lot of experience, mentor, advising those that, have apps, who have come out with apps from a branding and PR perspective. And then also be careful. You're welcome. Be careful. Don't just jump right into marketing and advertising. And I don't know what sort of investments you may have coming into this, but you've always got to start with PR before you go to marketing and advertising. Yep. I feel that you're smart. Just please do I just want to put that on record, not to just jump into an agency, because they're only going to care about the return on investment for themselves, give you and share with you all these analytics and everything else like that. Yet realistically, unless you're putting $500,000, millions of dollars into it, there really is no way to determine on how it's going to be a return on investment in its best interest for you.
Yep. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Anytime. I believe we've covered everything. Thank you for the support. Thank you once again for the alignment, what you've gifted to me today. I'll say God put this together. Big shout out to Marcos Papadatos. He's a man of faith. He is intuitive. He also, I believe you saw in that group text, I got to go back because I don't want to paraphrase here. What did Marcos say? And you may have read it. Please tell him he's my favorite male volleyball player, Team USA.
Oh, USA. I love the country.
Mason, thank you again. I appreciate you.
Yep. Thank you guys and your entire team. I really appreciate it.
Always. All great things, Mason Briggs. Head on over to his Instagram, MASONS Briggs. That's BRIGGS. This interview will be available on Amazon Music, Amazon Audible, Spotify, and iHeartRadio today. It is October 9th, Monday. We will re-air this episode on Power 98.5. Remember, come home first where all the latest and greatest begins. That's power985.com. Download the app. Tune in on Alexa. Power 98.5 is also available on Live FM Radio, Streama, Streameter, Radio Line, Apple Music. If you got Apple Music, you can listen to Power 98.5 on there as well. Odyssey, formerly known as radio.com. It's also available on Odyssey. What a day. Beautiful, beautiful day. Thank you for everyone who's joined us. Carlos, thank you for the questions. Anyone else, remember, click the bottom right-hand icon in that corner that you see right there on the app or the website. Send us any questions. If you've got any music you want to submit, reach out to my team at power98.5radio@gmail.com or contact@power985.com. Hope everyone has a great day. And remember, as we talked about earlier, take a break. Don't chase. Stay diligent. Be passionate. Live in passion. Thrive through and be in passion. And most importantly, pray about it. If all else fails and you just are backed up against the wall, I'm telling you, pray about it. It's as simple as that. Have a great day, everyone.
Friend us on your socials and let's connect.